Seinfeld remains one of the greatest sitcoms of all time, known for its witty humor, unforgettable characters, and iconic moments. But behind the laughter, many of the talented actors who brought these characters to life have faced heartbreaking tragedies. Some battled long illnesses, while others were lost to sudden accidents or unexpected circumstances. In this video, we remember 35 actors from Seinfeld who have sadly passed away, celebrating their careers, personal journeys, and the lasting impact they left on television history. Join us as we pay tribute to these beloved stars and the tragedies that took them too soon. Ruth Cohen stepped into the role of Ruthie Cohen in 1992 at the age of 62, bringing a quiet yet essential presence to the bustling world of Monk's Cafe. As the cashier who bore witness to the daily absurdities of Jerry and his friends, Ruthie became an unspoken fixture, silently absorbing their chaos with an ever-patient demeanor. Her career in Hollywood had been largely unremarkable, filled with bit parts and fleeting appearances, yet Seinfeld granted her the closest thing to a legacy she would ever know. Beyond the set, however, Ruth's life was marred by loneliness. She never married, never bore children, and as the years passed, her social circle dwindled. A devoted caregiver to her ailing mother, she spent decades trapped in a cycle of self-sacrifice, only to be left utterly alone when her mother passed. Though she remained sharp in mind, her body betrayed her, health complications mounting until, on August 23, 2008, she suffered a fatal heart attack in her modest Los Angeles apartment at the age of 78.
Bill, and so if you have a 20 in there with big lips on it, oh, that's mine. Would you mind opening up the register?
Not unless you buy something.
Jerry Stiller became Frank Costanza in 1993 at the age of 66, transforming George's father into an unforgettable, fiery-tempered comedic force. His career had been long and storied, but never without struggle. Decades before Seinfeld, he and his wife Mira had achieved fame as a comedy duo, yet their professional success often masked their personal difficulties. Stiller suffered deeply when Mira, grappling with depression, nearly walked away from their marriage in the 1970s. The emotional toll left him prone to anxiety and insomnia, his mind ceaselessly haunted by fears of abandonment. Even in his golden years, health battles plagued him, his hearing deteriorated, his mobility became restricted, and the world he once commanded with his booming voice grew painfully silent. By the time he passed away on May 11, 2020, at the age of 92, his body had withered, leaving behind a man once known for his explosive vitality reduced to a whisper of his former self.
I'm a college graduate. You want me to be a mailman?
You know, I couldn't bring myself to spend one of these. I got some kind of a phobia.
Estelle Harris took on the role of Estelle Costanza in 1992 at the age of 64, embodying the overbearing, high-strung mother whose shrill voice became synonymous with George's neuroses. She was a scene stealer, her comedic timing impeccable, yet behind the cameras, Estelle's life was not one of uproarious laughter. Married for decades to her husband Szal Harris, their union was one of endurance rather than affection. She had 3 children, but her relationship with them was strained, her demanding career leaving little room for maternal warmth. As her fame grew, so too did her battles with chronic pain, a consequence of arthritis that left her body aching even as she forced a smile for fans. In her later years, a car accident left her injured and dependent on caregivers, stripping her of the independence she once cherished. By the time she died on April 2, 2022, at the age of 93, from natural causes.
I want you to go see a psychiatrist.
No, I am not going to see a psychiatrist.
Why? Why not? Why won't you go?
Because I don't want to.
I want you to go see somebody.
Well, I am not.
Liz Sheridan entered Seinfeld as Helen Seinfeld in 1990 at the age of 61, embodying the doting, ever-supportive mother who believed her son could do no wrong. It was a role that resonated with her deeply, but it paled in comparison to the love story she once lived. In her youth, Liz had been the lover of James Dean, their romance a tempest of passion and heartbreak that ended before it could become something more. She spent the rest of her life haunted by what could have been, carrying the weight of memories that never faded. Though she eventually married jazz musician Dale Wales, it was a companionship born of comfort rather than fire. Her later years were spent in relative obscurity, her health declining, her body succumbing to the relentless passage of time. On April 15, 2022, at the age of 93, she passed away from natural causes, her mind forever tethered to the ghost of a love lost too soon.
And then she criticizes my jacket.
At least come and say hello, have a cup of coffee, then you leave.
How come he gets to leave?
Barney Martin became Morty Seinfeld in 1991 at the age of 68, bringing Jerry's frugal, argumentative father to life. Though he was known for his comedic timing, his path to Hollywood had been anything but easy. Before acting, he had spent years as a police officer, a job that exposed him to the darkest sides of humanity. When he finally pursued acting full-time, success did not come quickly. He struggled for years, taking on minor roles while dealing with financial instability. Though he remained married to his wife Catherine, tragedy struck their family when their only son passed away. The loss left a deep wound, one that never truly healed, and Barney carried the weight of grief for the rest of his life. In his later years, he was diagnosed with lung cancer, a slow and painful disease that stole his strength day by day. On March 21, 2005, he passed away at the age of 82, his body ravaged by illness, leaving behind a career filled with laughter but a life shaped by quiet sorrow.
What did you do about them?
What do you mean?
Hey, Jerry! Hey, you two! Kratos! Oh, hey.
What's wrong?
Richard Hurd joined Seinfeld in 1995 at the age of 63, embodying Mr. Wilhelm, the clueless yet well-meaning Yankees executive who consistently misunderstood George's actions, further complicating the latter's already chaotic life. The character's aloof nature and random insights made him both a nuisance and an enigma. Hurd was a familiar face in Hollywood, but never a headliner. While he enjoyed a long career, he often played authoritative figures, policemen, military men, never quite stepping into the limelight. Despite his career stability, his personal life was a battlefield. His first marriage to Imelda Cuddy ended in quiet devastation, leaving him emotionally drained. His second wife, Patricia Hurd, remained by his side, but the couple struggled through financial strains and his long bouts of workaholism, which kept him away from home. His battle with cancer was relentless, stripping him of his strength and forcing him into painful treatments that did little but prolong his suffering. He succumbed on May 26, 2020, at the age of 87.
This is beautiful. Why didn't you tell me you were going to have it mounted like this?
Yeah, and you were probably just going to stick it in an envelope.
Warren Frost took on the role of Henry Ross in 1992 at the age of 67, playing the stern, cold father of Susan, whose interactions with George were laced with contempt. His presence, though limited, left an impact, embodying a character who was both distant and imposing. Frost's career was long and varied, but much of his work went unnoticed outside of devoted television audiences. His greatest success came late in life, and though he relished it, the years leading up to it had been filled with professional frustration. In his personal life, he found some solace in marriage, spending over 6 decades with his wife, Virginia, but the years took their toll. His health began to decline long before his passing, a slow deterioration that left him unable to enjoy the later chapters of his life. His final years were spent battling a prolonged illness that sapped his strength and left him frail, his once commanding voice reduced to whispers. He passed away on February 17, 2017, at the age of 91.
What is the point of opening your mouth and going, ha ha? What is that?
You know, you can't get those cigars any...
Len Lesser took on the role of Uncle Leo in 1991 at the age of 69, breathing life into Jerry's overly affectionate, loud, and boundary-crossing uncle. With his booming Jerry, hello, and his iron grip on conversations, literally, he became an unforgettable part of the show's comedic fabric. Uncle Leo was a man who saw the world through a lens of exaggerated warmth, where every minor slight became a betrayal and every moment an opportunity for a grand declaration of familial love. Lesser's career spanned decades, appearing in dozens of TV shows and films, but true stardom eluded him for most of his life. While Seinfeld granted him recognition, it arrived late, after years of rejection, low-paying character roles, and financial hardship. His personal life was equally tumultuous. Married only once to Janice Burrell, the union ended in heartbreak, leaving him a divorced man struggling with loneliness. His 2 children, Michelle and David, drifted in and out of his life, busy with their own struggles. Pneumonia finally took him on February 16, 2011, at the age of 88.
Supposed to give $50 to your sister.
Ma, Dad died in 1962. Believe me, I don't owe your mother $50.
Ian Abercrombie stepped into the role of Mr. Pitt in 1994 at the age of 60, playing Elaine's wildly eccentric boss, whose obsession with minute details and odd behaviors often threw her life into absurd turmoil. Abercrombie, a seasoned British character actor, had spent his life in supporting roles, never quite achieving mainstream fame despite his immense talent. His life was a testament to perseverance, filled with near misses and unfulfilled dreams. His personal life was a quiet tragedy. Married once, he had no children, leaving him to navigate the later years of his life alone. Despite his charm and humor, true companionship always seemed just out of reach. In his final years, he fought an invisible battle against kidney failure, a slow, merciless affliction that drained his energy and left him frail. He passed away on January 26, 2012, at the age of 77, alone in a hospital room.
You think I have grace?
Some grace, yes.
Just some?
Well, you don't want too much grace or you won't be able to stand.
Peter Crombie embodied Crazy Joe Davila in 1992 at the age of 40, portraying the unhinged, menacing figure whose erratic behavior added an unsettling edge to the sitcom. In many ways, Crombie's career mirrored his character's unpredictability. Despite his commanding presence and remarkable performances, he remained on the fringes of true success. He found some work in television and film, but fame remained elusive. His personal life was a collection of disappointments. His marriage to Nadine Kitchener, though filled with passion, was short-lived, ending in an amicable but painful divorce. He had no children, leaving him without a legacy to carry forward. As he aged, the roles dried up, and he withdrew from the industry, fading into obscurity. His final years were marred by illness, his body betraying him as he fought a losing battle against an unspecified ailment. He passed away on January 10, 2024, at the age of 71.
You look good. Why shouldn't I look good? No, it's no reason. You do the karate, right? Hey, you want to hit me?
Sandy Barron stepped into the role of Jack Klompus in Seinfeld in 1991 at the age of 55, portraying Morty Seinfeld's relentless adversary in the Del Boca Vista retirement community. His character was the embodiment of petty rivalry, forever engaged in meaningless battles over trivial matters. Barron's real-life career had started on an optimistic note, with early success in stand-up comedy and a notable Broadway career. However, his time in the spotlight was fleeting, and as Hollywood turned its back on him, he found himself struggling to secure roles. His personal life was equally grim. Never marrying, he spent his final decades in virtual solitude, his closest companions the ghosts of his past successes. He developed emphysema, a condition that left him gasping for breath and confined to a hospital bed, robbed of his once booming voice. His last years were marked by financial hardship, his medical bills piling up as his health deteriorated. On January 21, 2001, at the age of 64, he succumbed to the disease.
You know, I still got that pen, the one that writes upside down.
Yeah. I should have kept it.
So where's your father?
Oh, he's right here.
Daniel von Bargen took on the role of Mr. Kruger in Seinfeld in 1997 at the age of 47. Bringing to life the indifferent and utterly incompetent boss of George Costanza at Kruger Industrial Smoothing. His portrayal was marked by a blend of comic apathy and corporate cluelessness, a man so detached from responsibility that his own company's decline barely registered with him. Beyond Seinfeld, von Bargen enjoyed a solid character acting career, appearing in films like Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And The Silence of the Lambs. However, his career was marred by struggles, as he increasingly found himself relegated to smaller roles, his once promising trajectory eroded by worsening health. Off-screen, Von Bargen's life unraveled into a devastating battle with diabetes, leading to multiple amputations that left him isolated and embittered. In 2012, drowning in despair, he attempted suicide by shooting himself in the temple but survived. He succumbed to complications from diabetes on March 1, 2015, at the age of 64.
This is all too real, and I could prove it if I have to.
Yeah, you probably should.
John Paragon took on the role of Cedric in Seinfeld in 1995 at the age of 41, portraying one of the two flamboyantly aggressive street toughs who tormented Kramer. Though his character was comedic, Paragon's life off-screen was marked by a quiet descent into despair. A skilled writer and performer, he made a name for himself in the Pee-wee's Playhouse franchise, but Hollywood's interest in him waned, leaving him scrambling for work. His battles with alcoholism became public knowledge, and as his drinking escalated, so did his isolation. His once creative mind dulled by years of substance abuse, he withdrew from friends and family, his financial situation worsening as offers dried up. By the time of his death on April 3, 2021, at the age of 66, he was a shadow of the energetic performer he once was, his body giving in to the combined effects of heart disease and years of alcohol abuse, another tragic casualty of a career that faded too soon.
Oh, wow, look, that one is gorgeous. I would just kill for that one.
Not in blue. Blue does not go at all.
Oh, please. Do you know what you're talking about? Because I don't think you know what you're talking about. Take a look at that.
Reni Santoni stepped into the role of Poppy in Seinfeld in 1994 at the age of 56, crafting a character whose lack of hygiene and volatile temper made him both hilarious and unsettling. Poppy's over-the-top reactions and rigid principles made him a memorable antagonist. But Santoni himself faced struggles far removed from the world of comedy. Though he had a long career with roles in Dirty Harry and Cobra, he never reached true stardom, often typecast and overlooked for leading roles. His personal life was filled with turmoil, divorced, estranged from his children, and battling severe alcoholism that eroded both his health and his relationships. By the time he entered his final years, dementia had set in, leaving him confused and reliant on caregivers who were often strangers to him. On August 1, 2020, at the age of 82, he passed away from natural causes, alone in a care facility, his final years a haze of illness and forgotten memories.
With a child.
Oh, boy.
But the communists, they put an end to that. So on this issue, there's no debate. And no intelligent person can think differently.
Hiram Kasten brought Michael to life in Seinfeld in 1993 at the age of 41, portraying Elaine's quirky coworker who injected humor into the workplace setting. His comedic timing was impeccable, but off-screen, his life followed a tragic trajectory. Despite a promising career in stand-up and acting, Kasten never reached the heights he had envisioned, often relegated to minor roles that left him financially insecure. His marriage, while long-lasting, was burdened by the strain of his declining health and career frustrations. As he aged, his battle with prostate cancer became a losing one, the disease consuming him while he continued performing in small clubs, desperate to hold onto the one thing that had always defined him, his comedy. On June 16, 2024, at the age of 71, he passed away, his final years a painful struggle against a relentless illness, his once bright future extinguished by the cruel passage of time.
What an ordeal.
Right, and you know how extremely sensitive she is.
I know.
She's going to need our full support.
Yeah, right. Look who's here! Toby!
Gordon Jump portrayed Thomasullo in Seinfeld in 1997 at 65, playing George's stern yet often clueless boss at Play Now. Despite being best known for WKRP in Cincinnati, his career was plagued by typecasting, forcing him into long periods of financial struggle. Acting provided little stability, and his personal life was equally complicated. His first marriage ended in a bitter divorce, leaving him estranged from his children, a regret he carried for decades. Though he later remarried, the scars of past failures remained. As he aged, his health began to decline, and he was diagnosed with pulmonary fibrosis, a cruel disease that slowly robbed him of breath. Once a commanding figure, he became weak and dependent, struggling to complete even the simplest tasks. On September 22, 2003, at the age of 71, he succumbed to the disease, spending his last days in quiet suffering, far from the vibrant personality he once was.
Handicapped? Oh, I'm not handicapped.
I'm sorry. Differently, advantaged.
See, I didn't mean that.
Of course.
Frances Bade played Mabel Choate in Seinfeld in 1996 at the age of 77, the kind but sharp-witted elderly woman from whom Jerry infamously stole a marble rye. Her character's unsuspecting nature made the theft both cruel and comical. Bade's real life was filled with heartbreak. She started acting late in life after years of rejection, finally gaining recognition in her 60s. Her personal tragedy was overwhelming. Her only son, Josh, was killed in a car accident, a devastating blow that haunted her for the rest of her life. She had been married to Charles Bade since 1946, and his death in 2002 left her completely alone. That same year, a fall resulted in the amputation of her right leg, stripping her of mobility and deepening her isolation. In her later years, she became increasingly frail, her body failing her while she lived in quiet solitude. On September 15, 2011, at the age of 92, she passed away from pneumonia, having outlived nearly everyone she loved.
You're not getting this right.
All right. All right. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I will give you double what you paid for it.
You're in my way.
And Morgan Guilbert played Evelyn in Seinfeld in 1991 at the age of 63, portraying an eccentric woman whose odd charm made her stand out in her brief appearances. She was best known for her role as Millie Helper on The Dick Van Dyke Show, but despite early success, she struggled to find major roles later in life, often taking small television parts to stay afloat. Her personal life was equally tumultuous. Her first marriage to producer George Eckstein ended in divorce, and though she later found love with actor Guy Raymond, his untimely death left her deeply heartbroken. As work became harder to find, she faced financial difficulties while secretly battling cancer, refusing to let the illness define her. She continued acting despite intense pain, but the disease ultimately overtook her. She passed away on June 14, 2016, at the age of 87, after a grueling fight that left her physically and emotionally drained.
Bylaws of the Condo Constitution. They need 6 votes to throw you out for unruly behavior. Not 5. Dr.
Sam Lloyd played Ricky in Seinfeld in 1993 at the age of 30, portraying an awkward, obsessive character with a strange fascination for TV Guide and Elaine. Though he built a solid career, best known for his role as the hapless lawyer Ted Buckland on Scrubs, success never translated into financial security. He was beloved for his comedic talents, yet behind the scenes, he faced immense struggles. In 2019, just weeks after his wife Vanessa gave birth to their first child, he was diagnosed with an inoperable brain tumor, which quickly spread to his lungs and spine. The diagnosis was devastating. He faced mounting medical bills while his condition rapidly worsened, leaving him unable to work or provide for his family. His once lively spirit faded as the disease took hold, and the man known for bringing laughter to millions was left weak and unrecognizable. He passed away on April 30, 2020, at the age of 56.
Rip to shreds! She gave that to you!
Hey, is that the Twilight Zone you're watching?
Yeah?
Oh, this...
Lloyd Bridges played Izzy Mandelbaum in Seinfeld in 1997 at 84, portraying the hilariously overconfident elderly fitness enthusiast who constantly challenged Jerry. Despite his career resurgence in his later years, his life was not without turmoil. In the 1950s, he was blacklisted in Hollywood due to suspected communist ties, causing financial and emotional distress for his family. Though he eventually recovered, the years of uncertainty took a toll on him. While married to Dorothy Bridges for over 5 decades, their relationship was rumored to be strained by his alleged affairs and obsessive dedication to his career. In his final years, a series of strokes left him physically weakened, unable to match the energetic persona he once projected. On March 10, 1998, at the age of 85, he passed away from natural causes, his once strong body having succumbed to time and illness, leaving behind a complex legacy of triumph and tragedy.
I am a comedian.
That's not so funny.
I think you're better than me, huh?
Izzy used to work out with Charles Atlas in the 50s.
1850s?
Denise Dowse portrayed Mother in Seinfeld in 1992 at the age of 34, embodying a warm and nurturing presence in her brief appearances. Her career spanned several decades, with notable roles in Beverly Hills, 90210 and The Guardian, but despite her steady work, she never reached the level of stardom she had once hoped for. She dedicated herself fully to acting, often at the cost of her personal life. She never married or had children, and though she maintained strong friendships, she struggled with periods of isolation. As she aged, health issues began to surface, but she continued working, determined not to let her declining strength slow her down. In 2022, tragedy struck when she developed a severe case of meningitis, which rapidly progressed and left her in a coma. With no hope of recovery, her loved ones faced the painful decision of letting her go. She passed away on August 13, 2022, at the age of 64.
Mr. Seinfeld, would you please fill this out?
All this? This whole thing? It's going to take me 45 minutes.
I know it's very long.
Gene Dynarski played Izzy Mandelbaum Jr. in Seinfeld in 1997 at the age of 64, embodying a competitive and stubborn personality that added humor to the series. Despite a career spanning decades, with roles in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, 1977, and Duel, 1971, he never achieved stardom. His personal life was one of solitude. He never married, had no children, and had few close relationships. As he aged, financial difficulties forced him to move into a small, poorly maintained apartment where he lived in increasing isolation. His health deteriorated, and in his later years, dementia robbed him of his cherished memories, leaving him confused and vulnerable. Once a commanding presence in Hollywood's character actor scene, he faded into obscurity, with few left to remember him. He passed away on February 27, 2020, at the age of 86, from undisclosed causes, dying quietly, without fanfare or public recognition.
My head.
Look, no one is lifting anything.
The television.
This one's for you, Pop. It's go time.
Elmarie Wendel played Helene in Seinfeld in 1992 at 64, a lively and eccentric minor character who added humor to the show. Though she had an unmistakable presence, her personal life was filled with loneliness and struggle. She spent decades in theater, enduring years of financial instability and countless rejections before finally breaking into television. She never married and was deeply private about her relationships, but she had one daughter, JC, an actress, with whom she had a strained bond. Though they remained connected, their relationship was marked by emotional distance and unresolved conflicts. In her later years, her health deteriorated, and she withdrew from the public eye, rarely seen outside her home. Her final years were shrouded in secrecy, with few details about her life emerging. She passed away on July 21, 2018, at the age of 89, her cause of death never publicly disclosed, leaving behind more questions than answers. O'Neill Compton played Earl in Seinfeld in 1995 at the age of 44, portraying a cheerful and easygoing character who brightened the screen. In real life, however, his journey was far from lighthearted. Despite roles in Deep Impact, 1998, and Nixon, 1995, he never achieved widespread fame, often struggling with typecasting and inconsistent work. His personal life was marked by sorrow. His marriage to Kathleen ended in a painful divorce, and their daughter, Lisa, grew distant from him, unable to cope with his worsening depression. Health issues, including diabetes and heart disease, further isolated him. As financial troubles mounted, he lost his home and relied on old friends for support. By his final years, he had disappeared from the public eye, a forgotten figure who once dreamed of Hollywood success. He passed away on February 18, 2019, at the age of 68, from undisclosed causes, dying in obscurity, with little recognition from the industry he had spent his life pursuing. David Byrd played the pharmacist in Seinfeld in 1995 at the age of 63, portraying a calm, knowledgeable presence in a world of neurotic characters. Byrd's real life, however, was anything but tranquil. A veteran stage actor, he had appeared in The Hindenburg, 1975, and Doc Hollywood, 1991, yet he was never more than a passing face in Hollywood's vast landscape. He struggled with personal demons, grappling with self-doubt and financial instability. Married twice, both unions ended in bitter divorce, leaving him childless and alone. His second wife, Margaret, cited his emotional detachment and long absences as reasons for their split. A severe case of pneumonia left him hospitalized in 2019, and he never fully recovered. The COVID-19 pandemic isolated him further, and when he contracted the virus in early 2025, his weakened body could not withstand it. He died on January 26, 2001, at the age of 68, pneumonia as a complication of COVID-19 claiming his life. Mick played the bomb squad guy in Seinfeld in 1992 at the age of 45, portraying a serious and professional character who exuded competence under pressure. His real life, however, was filled with personal and professional disappointments. While he secured small roles in films like RoboCop, 1987, and LA Confidential, 1997, he remained largely unknown, struggling to make ends meet as acting opportunities dried up. His marriage to Ellen collapsed under the strain of his alcoholism, and his two children, Jason and Emily, grew up estranged from him. By his late 60s, he was living in near poverty, taking on odd jobs to survive. A severe fall in 2016 left him with permanent mobility issues, further trapping him in a cycle of pain and isolation. In his final days, suffering from liver disease and financial ruin, he was alone, with no family to care for him. He passed away on June 15, 2018, at the age of 70, from undisclosed causes, his death largely unnoticed by the world. Who is your favorite character in Seinfeld? How do you feel knowing that the actors have passed away? Feel free to leave your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell so you don't miss future videos. Thank you so much.